So Austin Allison started a company called DotLoop, which automates the real estate transaction process. We're 45 people, all in Cincinnati with a few exceptions. The culture in Cincinnati just isn't ideal for an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship's all about risk and sort of making sacrifices and challenging the status quo and pushing the limit in everything that you do. And that's sort of the opposite of Cincinnati. Cincinnati's this conservative Midwestern town where people work 8 to 5 to retire someday. And it's just 180 degrees different from the life of an entrepreneur. We have, in Cincinnati, we have great marketing talent, so they're not necessarily technology resources, but the talent that exists in Cincinnati essentially stems from the other corporations that are in town. So the technologists that we have tend to be a lot of Java, lots of sort of product marketing and design people because of Procter & Gamble, but not a lot of just like bleeding edge technologists like you see out here in a technology hub like Silicon Valley, just because there's not a lot of industry that supports that. I don't think it's a necessity for us to be in San Francisco, but I felt like it was the right choice for the business because San Francisco gave us exposure to a talent pool and a culture and an environment that allowed us to take the business, or that will allow us to take the business to where we want to go. So it wasn't a necessity, but it was a choice that we made that we thought was the right decision for the company. Because Cincinnati has advantages and disadvantages with respect to just what it has in the way of resources for an entrepreneur. The advantages are you have people that are inexpensive, incredibly loyal, and talented within a certain subset of categories. The disadvantage is that it's difficult to find people that understand what it takes to prosper in an entrepreneur's shoes. And out here in the Valley, people just sort of get it because a lot of people come to Silicon Valley for the opportunity to change the world. And that culture is just sort of ingrained in the way that people operate. And the other thing that San Francisco has is access to talent that is just different. Like there's a lot of bleeding edge consumer-facing technologists here that just don't exist in Cincinnati because there's not an industry to support it. I'm looking forward to the culture shift more than anything. In Cincinnati, literally, it's difficult to find people that understand the early stage company or startup environment, and it just requires a lot of extra sort of work that is just par for the course here in San Francisco. So I'm really excited about that culture and also the opportunity to complement the people that we have back in Cincinnati with a different set of experiences and skills.
What are you going to miss?
Low cost. Real estate costs, to give you a benchmark, we pay like less than $10 per square foot in Cincinnati for really cool office space, and here you're looking at 40 or 50. So the costs are certainly a shock, and I think the loyalty element is also interesting. You know, as you start to recruit people here in San Francisco, it's interesting to see how people think, and there's lots of talent out here, but the talent's pretty competitive. And in Cincinnati, it's sort of the opposite. You know, when you're one of the hottest companies or the hottest company in town, it's easy to attract really great people. But here, there's lots of really hot companies. So, you know, I guess we'll kind of miss being the big fish in a small pond.